Now, tip number one, as I've just said, is back up your files to your OneDrive. So your OneDrive sits inside your Microsoft ecosystem. So you log in, you go to portal.office.com, log in with your Microsoft sign-in, get yourself signed into Office, and then click on the OneDrive button, and you'll come to a space that looks like this. Now you'll notice in OneDrive that all of your folders sit at the top and all of your files sit underneath. Everything is organized nice and alphabetically. So if you're new to OneDrive, or if working with OneDrive is something that you haven't done a lot of, just think really carefully about the folder structure that you're going to use. You can have folders inside folders inside folders, but one of my great colleagues, Sam, often says to me, if you name a folder and somebody is looking for a file and they see the name of your folder, is it really clear and explicit to that person what the content of that folder is? So think really carefully about what your content is. Now, also it could be, you see I've got some numerical folders sitting here, 2018, 2019, and it could be that we want to change the folder structure. Now, it is alphabetical. How do we change something that's alphabetical? So we need to rename this. So if I right click on my folder here, you'll notice up the top, I get a menu and I've got rename. Or I can come down and I have rename here. Now I can rename by putting my cursor in front of that number, and let's just go 01 and click save. So I'm going to force that folder to move. So you see my 2019 has now moved to the front because I've put the number 1 on the front of it. So using numbers to rename your folders can help just to shift that organization a wee bit. The other thing you can do is use visual symbols to rename your folders. Quite often, especially when we get lots of folders, can be quite tricky just to scan through and find the ones you want. So if we use a visual symbol, it can help us to locate folders really quickly. Same thing, we just rename that the same way as we did when we put a numerical number in front of this folder up here. We just right click, let's do it on this one. We come down to rename, we put our cursor where we want it to be, and we put an emoji or something in the front. Now, if you're a Chrome web browser user, there are plenty of Chrome extensions where it'll allow you to add an emoji in. But what you can also do, if you are on a PC, you can just hit your Windows key and the full stop, and it brings up an emoji keyboard straight away for you. Click on it. It should drop that in a moment. There we go. And rename it with a symbol and click save. So on the Windows keyboard, again, that was just the Windows key and the full stop, and it brings you up that emoji keyboard. If you are on a MacBook, you can do exactly the same with your Control, Command, and Spacebar, and that will bring you up with a emoji keyboard as well. So really nice way to be able to create visual symbols that make it nice and easy for you to spot your folders that you need. Now, you may be a OneDrive person already, and you may be looking at this and you may be thinking, that OneDrive looks slightly different to mine. Up in the very top right-hand corner, you have a little drop-down arrow where you can change the way that your OneDrive is organized. You can see that mine has tiles. I'll just make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. I've got the tiles selected, but you can have a compact list or a list. Interestingly enough, most of the people I work with tend to be list people. And so they have their OneDrives organized like this. So you can see here when it was last modified, who modified it, the file size, and the sharing permissions, which you don't see when you're in the grid view. But what you do see when you're in the tile view is you see how many documents you have inside that folder, and you see a little thumbnail of what your files are. So for me, I quite like that visual. So completely up to you which way around you do it. So let's have a look back at our tips. So back up your files to your OneDrive for that security and to speed up your machine and to clear off your hard drive. Number 2, think about your folder structure and your naming conventions. And just here we have the little tips for you on how to get those emojis if you would like them nice and quickly.